As we look at the National Guard, the Army National Guard, out of the Army's 18 divisions, 8 of those divisions are in the Army National Guard. And so we need to be interoperable, plug and play. And so as those divisions go downrange to plug back in for a division that's coming out, it needs to have those ISR platforms. And so the Gray Eagle provides one of those platforms, platform agnostic though. And so ISR capability like we're seeing being used over in Iran right now in the MQ-9 is critical to the warfight. And so it's critical to our divisions that our divisions are plug and play into the Army other divisions.
Very good. Do you have any idea when the basing decision will be made?
I don't have a specific, we'll have to get back to you, but it'll be hopefully in the coming year.
Good. Thank you. General Healy, we are grateful for our reserve airmen and their continued readiness and availability. We understand that you all have done a tremendous job in executing resources given you by Congress. What specific areas should this committee prioritize in the fiscal year 27 budget to preserve the advantage that the Air Force Reserves delivers?
I appreciate the question, sir, and I believe I'm contractually obligated to say fully funding our O&M and RPA request would be the simplest answer, but obviously I'll go more than that. We executed our 25 funding, roughly $4.2 billion in O&M, down to $11 million, which was an unheard of level of accuracy on our behalf. Our reserve personnel appropriation of just under $3 billion, we executed down to just over $6 million at the end of the year. So with our execution of our flying hour program of 101.1%, we essentially created the readiness that we said that we would. So when we asked for fully funding our current request for O&M and RPA, we have a proven track record that readiness is what allowed us to generate that mobilization in a ready fashion in 72 hours for Operation Epic Fury. So I would ask for that fully funding of O&M and RPA.
So that's your biggest challenge, is the funding?
Anytime a decrease in funding, it creates subsequent challenges along with it. We've got, whether it's, we've talked about already the TRICARE Reserve Select and with regard to the dental as well. Our biggest challenge is that and concurrent fielding of weapon systems.
Very good. General Harder, I understand the Guard and Reserve continue to rely on the National Guard and Reserve equipment account to update legacy systems. We were happy to see it funded for the first time ever in this year's President's budget request. Can you tell us how you use this funding and maintain parity with the active duty components?
No, I appreciate the question, Senator. So we get less than 1% of the Army's modernization budget. So NAGRI is critical. It provides almost 40% of our modernization capabilities for us. And so we will use that to continue to go after protection systems, counter UAS, as well as modernizing our fleets. Again, we're 95% of bulk petroleum distribution for the joint force. So as we can modernize our truck and fuel fleets, we use NAGRI to get after that as well. So it's critical to driving readiness for your Army Reserve.
I just add our concern, and I'm not concerned, but open to the discussion with regard to the change to presidential budget for INGRIA this year versus independent appropriation. Concern for for instance, in the Air Force Reserve, 155 million is what we've executed in the most recent years. But as that's programmed out for 5 years, that becomes flat due to inflation, I would say. And quite honestly, our biggest concern with the PB authorization for INGRIA is that it never gets to the reserve. So we're concerned about that as well, sir.
General Nordhaus, can you very quickly, we talked about this in the office, the importance of the state partnership program. Can you explain very quickly the importance of funding the partnership program?
Senator Bozeman, thank you very much. So the National Guard has 116 partnerships globally. It started in 1993 with 13, and now we're at 116 around the globe. The combat commanders love it for the capability that it provides. The nations that we partner with love it because it's building partner capacity. It's building burden sharing. We learn as much from them as they do from us. And as we continue to grow this program, we need the supporting funding so that we can have the bilateral affairs officers, we can do key leader engagements, and we can continue the robust exercises and partnerships with the nations globally.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for your leadership. I want to start off my questioning focused on the combat search and rescue and personnel recovery. I think we all recognize that this is an essential capability that has to be maintained, and it's also one of these niche areas where pretty amazing what we see in this capacity. It was reported in the FY27 program objective memorandum, cuts to the Air Force Combat Search and Rescue Enterprise, particularly the planned elimination of the HC-130J Combat King II fleet. I have received a commitment in person from General Wilsbach that he will not cut the HC-130Js. The budget appears to reflect that. But in fairness, the fact that it was even up for consideration was concerning. So General Nordhaus, the National Guard has, of course, rescue components in Alaska, but also in Kentucky, Oregon, New York, California, and General Healy, the Air Force Reserve, has these rescue components in Oregon, Arizona, and Florida. I am assuming that you would agree that cuts to these missions would severely impair our not only our operational abilities, but I'm worried about the signals that it would send to our forces if we were to make these cuts. And I just would like some reinforcement from the two of you this morning as to the imperative for the combat search and rescue mission.
Senator Murkowski, is a pleasure to visit Clear, Eielson, and Jaybear over the last 18 months.
Thank you for that.
I know the criticality of the search and rescue mission as a previous CFAC, where you're looking at airmen hundreds of miles off the coast of Alaska to intercept adversary aircraft or to be able to search and rescue, or what we just saw in Epic Fury, where we had to go in and retrieve 2 downed airmen. Search and rescue aircraft are critical. General Wilsbach and I are close. We're both committed on the C-130 rescue up in Alaska, and there's no plan in the president's budget to divest.
Excellent. General Healy?
Yes, ma'am, I'd echo that General Wilsbach's position is unequivocal, that he does not support any cuts whatsoever to the CSAR. I think we're seeing that by the investment in the HH-60 whiskeys the Air Force Reserve is currently going through and the potential for more. I think also